The U.S. Navy is the largest and most advanced fleet in the world, possessing a vast fleet of military hardware ranging anywhere from giant aircraft carriers that strike terror in the heart of the enemy by their sheer size to silent stealth drones. In today's video, we're going to explore the reason behind why the U.S. Navy is so powerful and why no government would dare risk trespassing on the waters of the land of the free. The U.S. Navy has the largest number of ships of any of the world's naval forces. Furthermore, the U.S. has a wide variety of different missions and an enormous area of responsibility. No other naval force boasts such a global influence as the U.S. Navy, which regularly conducts operations in the Pacific, Atlantic, and Indian Oceans, as well as in the Mediterranean Sea, the Persian Gulf, and even the Horn of Africa. Additionally, U.S. Navy vessels carry out missions in the Asian and European regions. Today's fleet consists of more than 300 vessels. The number of operating ships is planned to increase to 305 units by 2021, and by 2049, according to a 30-year shipbuilding plan, the U.S. intends to expand to 355 ships. First, we'll start with what immediately catches the eye, literally. We'll begin with the aircraft carriers. These steel masters of the seas and oceans have long since become the very hallmark of the U.S. Navy. The terrifying power of American aircraft carriers is one of the most effective tools for deterring hostile forces without having to rely on nuclear weapons. Also, the U.S. Navy's record for the number of aircraft carriers still remains unattainable for other countries, both in terms of engineering intellect and budget size. There are currently two active classes of nuclear-powered aircraft carriers, the Nimitz and the recently onboarded Gerald R. Ford. The newest aircraft carrier, Gerald R. Ford, which inherited its name from the 38th President of the United States, entered service in 2017 and is capable of carrying up to 90 aircraft units and helicopters. More than $17.5 billion of budget funds and over 757 liters of paint were expended during its construction. The ship measurements come out to 1,106 feet long and 256 feet wide, and it weighs about 100,000 tons. It stands as tall as a building several dozen stories. Thus, the Gerald R. Ford, in and of itself, is an entire mini-navy capable of moving anywhere on the globe. This allows the U.S. Navy to deploy its aircraft in the shortest time possible, thus minimizing dependence on not only grounded U.S. military bases, but foreign military bases as well. The aircraft carrier wing is capable of eliminating hundreds of targets on a daily basis for quite literally several weeks, non-stop. Meanwhile, the Nimitz class is gradually moving to retire. The Navy currently plans to have 12 aircraft carriers by 2049. Given the fact that today the United States has 11 of the total 21 aircraft carriers in service with armed forces around the world, their naval advantage in the future will only become even more apparent. The Gerald R. Ford can carry the latest F-35, F/A-18E, and F/A-18F Super Hornets, E-2D Advanced Hawkeye fighters, and also the EA-18G Growler electronic warfare aircraft, which just so happens to be the next item on our list. As the successor to the successful F/A-18F Super Hornet, the EA-18 Growler is an electronic attack aircraft that has the characteristics of a fighter. It replaced the older EA-6B Prowler. As a matter of fact, the Growler is a two-seat Super Hornet with virtually identical characteristics, save for the removed M61 internal cannon, which was swapped out for the AN/ALQ-227 communication suppression system instead. Additionally, the aircraft is equipped with AN/ALQ-99 radar signal suppression units, which makes it one of the most effective tools against enemy communication systems. Among the key capabilities of Growler worth highlighting, we have the following: suppression of enemy air defenses with the assistance of UAVs, jamming of ground communications and radars, as well as actual strikes on them via anti-radar harm missiles, remote countermeasures and jamming of air defenses, enemy onboard early warning platforms and enemy fighters, a classified maneuver by the Growler known as the unconventional electronic attack. The EA-18 also carries AMRAAM air-to-air missiles for the purpose of protection and is equipped with a multi-mode AESA APG-79 radar, to which was also added an advanced control system on the helmet. As of May 2014, the United States has 114 EA-18s. The cost of just one such aircraft totals more than $100 million. And from the air, we will now dive deep and straight underwater, where we find the Virginia-class attack submarine. This submarine, coming in at 377 feet long, 34 feet in diameter, and 7,800 tons of water displacement, is undoubtedly the best fourth-generation multi-purpose submarine in the U.S. Since the Seawolf-class submarines turned out to be far too expensive, approximately $4.4 billion per unit to be exact, the Virginia model becomes the Los Angeles-class's replacement. These were actually successful to such a degree that in the 20 years of production, the U.S. Navy has already received 21 such submarines. In total, the project has 30 submarines projected, which will be distributed over 5 blocks. One of them, SSN-795, will be launched this year, in parallel to its predecessor, SSN-794. Each Virginia-class vessel is armed with 12 vertical launchers made for Tomahawk missiles. These are further complemented by 4 533mm torpedo tubes, capable of launching Mk-48 ADCAP homing torpedoes, mines, and also underwater unmanned vehicles. The Virginia class is also equipped with special cameras for divers and can carry the SEAL mini-submarines. While capable of going offense, they also serve as functional observation platforms with a full range of sonars, lamps, sail and chin sonars, as well as ESM and optoelectric sensors for immediate detection of enemy signals. All this information is instantly conveyed to other units of the Navy, located both on the water and in the air. In addition to the Virginia class, the Ohio-class submarines are another cause for concern for the enemies of the United States. The latter came in the form of 4 SSGN submarines: Ohio, Michigan, Florida, and Georgia. As a result of the CHB-2 treaty, the U.S. Navy provided 4 additional hulls for ballistic missile submarines, after forking over around $4 billion for their refitting. The fleet received a class of submarines armed with 154 Tomahawk cruise missiles, 7 in each silo. At the same time, the 2 mines closest to the wheelhouse are equipped with airlock chambers, to which mini-submarines ASDS or DDS modules are docked to ensure the exit of combat swimmers. As part of special operations, the vessel can accommodate up to 66 individuals, be it Marines or SEALs, and in the case of short-term missions, this number can be increased to 102. Prior to its modernization, the submarine could carry 24 D-5 Trident ballistic missiles with a nuclear warhead. These have since been replaced by the Block 3 Tomahawk and the Block 4 Tomahawk. Block 3Cs carry a conventional 1,000-pound warhead with a 1,000-mile range, while Block 3D have a payload of 166 cluster bombs and an 800-mile range. All these missiles have multiple navigation methods and are capable of targeting with an internal navigation system, TERCOM, DSMAC, and standard GPS. As for Block 4E, each missile also gains the ability to perform reconnaissance, estimate damage, assist bombs in delivering critical hits to enemy targets, and even redirect them to another target. Furthermore, this version of the Tomahawk is several times cheaper than others, which makes it not only effective, but also extremely favorable. It's now time to emerge from the depths. After all, the legendary class of destroyers, Arleigh Burke, named after the no less legendary admiral of World War II, awaits us on the surface. These vessels are the crown jewel of the U.S. Navy and some of the most well-balanced and efficient ships in the world. A total of 89 such ships are set to be produced, 68 of which are already in active service with the Navy, and 6 more are being built. At the moment, these ships account for 1/5 of the entire U.S. Navy. The core of the Arleigh Burke's combat power is the Aegis system, which is responsible for the guidance of anti-aircraft missiles fired at approaching targets. It is also capable of coordinating the defensive actions of the entire naval surface group and firing at hostile targets over great distances, utilizing data from the E-2D Hawkeye aircraft, which form a part of the aircraft carrier's overall wing. Among the arsenal possessed by this class of ships, it's worth noting the evolved Sea Sparrow air defense missiles, designed to eliminate targets at short and medium distances. The SM-2 and SM-6 missiles allow them to easily deal with long-range air targets. In addition to this, the ship has SM-3 missiles to destroy ballistic missiles, so that enemy submarines will be of no concern. The ships are also equipped with the AN-SQQ-89 BIUS, with a towed AN-SQR-19 GAS, and an AN-SQS-53 in-hull GAS. The ships are outfitted with 6 Mk-46 anti-submarine torpedoes, and the M860R helicopters only enhance the anti-submarine capabilities, although hangars for them are only seen on later versions of the Arleigh Burke models. The obvious disadvantage of this class was its weak anti-ship characteristics, 8 near-obsolete Harpoon missiles. The reason behind this was at the time of the Arleigh Burke's creation, a real surface threat to them simply did not exist. Although today specialists at Lockheed Martin are already engaged in developing future anti-ship missiles for the fleet, including for the Arleigh Burke. But from the conventional weapons point of view, the ships are truly exemplary. They boast a bow 5-inch 127mm cannon, capable of conducting anti-ship and coastal bombardment, and even performing a limited air defense function. A 25mm cannon, 4 50 caliber machine guns, which were installed following the suicide attack on the USS Cole in 1999, and a Phalanx 1B melee weapon in order to eliminate incoming missiles and repel attacks from enemy helicopters, UAVs, and small boats. Arleigh Burke-class vessels were commissioned back in 1991, and according to the U.S. Secretary of the Navy in 2008, their service will extend upwards of 40 years. However, additional funding for said plans to extend the service life of these ships was never actually included in the U.S. Navy's fiscal 2008-2009 budget request. The last but not least reason behind why any aggression towards the U.S. Navy is doomed to failure is the active testing of combat lasers on various ships. Back in 2014, a directed energy weapon, LAWS, was successfully tested on the USS Ponce, an Austin-class amphibious transport dock. Afterwards, it was decommissioned in 2017. There are also plans to test lasers within the Arleigh Burke class, namely on the USS Preble. Using data obtained during tests, American engineers will be able to improve on their developments to create the most powerful laser weapons capable of being installed on U.S. Navy vessels. And although the Geneva Convention forbids the aiming of lasers at people, we can safely assume that the directed detonation of explosive ordnance and fuel reserves on enemy ships will inevitably lead to rather lethal consequences for the crew, which would be yet another nightmare for anyone hostile to the American Navy. So do you think anyone would be so bold as to attack the U.S. Navy? Let us know your opinion in the comments below. And if you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next video.